If we could have the special occasion speakers up on stage, and here in contestants row, our final event of the evening, original comedy. Finalists, please join us down here. There were 6 finalists in the final round of special occasion speaking. In 6th place, from Belleville West, Brooke Ingram. In 5th place, from Elk Grove Village, Catherine Rappel. In 4th place, from Matea Valley, James Ewer. In 3rd place, from Oaklawn Community High School, Stephanie McFan. Your state runner-up in special occasion speaking is Nick Albert from Wheaton, Warrenville South. And your state champion in special occasion speaking from Marion, Jocelyn Billheimer. State champion in special occasion speaking, Jocelyn Billheimer.
Young business people of America, our new membership requirements are so expensive, they're ludicrous. The adjective, not the rapper. But like, they're so ludicrous, even ludicrous would be like, dang. That's ludicrous. All members must have a $500 registration fee, a $700 iPad, and multiple designer suits. Usually I wouldn't be able to afford any of that, but today I managed to buy a suit. Lies, I stole a suit. The biggest problem is when our president, Stacey, said, those without the money to live up to these requirements lack the work ethic and the knack to be a young business person of America. But we don't lack the knack, we just lack the stacks. And this stigma against the lower classes, whack. Lies we tell ourselves. A 2013 study conducted by the Joint Public Issues Association found that people often misrepresent the poor, blame them, and deny them opportunities. But poverty is complex, and our societal mistreatment of this issue is discriminatory and prevents the upward socioeconomic mobility we assume poor people have. So let's make our club free and open to anyone who's interested by taking a look at the causes, effects, and some solutions to help out and change the way we view poverty. Because even if we lack the stacks, we should still have each other's backs. Like, remember that time I suggested that we donate non-perishables to that inner city food pantry? And everyone was like, let them eat cake. And I was like, that's not a non-perishable. Yeah, you know I'm all about a good cause, but here are 2 different causes. First, our social Darwinist society, and second, the culture of the American dream. But first, our unwillingness to help out the lower class stems from our social Darwinist or survival of the fittest society. Famous historical social Darwinist and Yale professor William Graham Sumner published a book titled, What Social Classes Owe to Each Other. His answer? Nothing. He writes, in a free state, one cannot be charged to offer help to another person, which is true. And it's great that we live in a country where no one can force us to do things like floss. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't choose to do things like floss. Or choose to use our advantages to help out the disadvantaged. With this societal fend for yourself philosophy, We've accepted inequality as the norm and often choose not to help out our fellow man. And second, our stigma against the lower class stems from the culture of the American dream. In her 2014 academic journal, American Poverty, Myths and Misconceptions, Professor of Sociology Jennifer Bailey argues that the American dream is laced with the philosophy of meritocracy, that if a person works hard enough, financial success is inevitable, but this is not always the case. Now, this ideal has us thinking that anyone who doesn't have money just didn't work hard enough. It also implies that the race towards financial success is without obstacles and the same for everyone. But if we're being real, on the race towards the good old American dream, some people get a head start, while the rest of us have to do it on one leg, blindfolded, juggling debt, underwater. Upward socioeconomic mobility is mad hard to say and achieve in 2016. I mean, our founding fathers probably didn't even have it this hard. Back then, if you wanted to move up in the world, all you needed was, I don't know, a powdered wig, knickerbockers, slaves. Effects. First, the language we use. And second, the cycle of poverty continues. But first, the language we use when referring to the lower class becomes riddled with stereotypes and stigma. On various media outlets, Fox News, poor people have been described as the moocher class, welfare queens, overly emotional, subsidized freeloaders, sponges, sitting on the couch eating bonbons, and lazy, lazy leeches. Those are actual quotes. To be honest, I don't know what lazy, lazy leeches are, but I hope it's a really fun sequel to Hungry, Hungry Hippos. Now, even President Obama spoke on this discriminatory language at a discussion at Georgetown University, stating, "The effort to suggest that poor people are lazy, unintelligent, and don't want to work becomes the entire narrative, which is misleading." Thanks, Obama. Second, the cycle of poverty continues. In 2014, Oxfam, which is not a squad of oxen, I checked, it's a philanthropic organization. And they found that since 2009, the income levels of the wealthiest 1% have increased by 95%, while the income levels of the bottom 90 declined. The same organization found that during that same period of time, many community uplift and financial aid initiatives that would have benefited the lower class were cut. To sum it all up, we perceive poor and working class people as lazy and better off than they actually are, so we think it's okay to cut initiatives that would have actually benefited them. Stacy, I know you always say those poor people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but that's not fair. You only wear Uggs. To sum it all up, we perceive poor and working class people as lazy and better off than they actually are, so we think it's okay to cut these programs. So the poor get more poor, the rich think they're grandeur, and be hitting up the store while the poor do all the chores. Bars. And the cycle of poverty continues, just like my rhymes. Since my name is Jocelyn Billheimer, some of my friends gave me a rap name, J Dollar Bills. You'd think that since I'm broke, I don't have dollar bills, but I do. 3. And I have 2 solutions. First, help each other out. And second, look at the big picture. But first, young business people of America, we've got to stop being so afraid of helping out our peers. Stacy, I know you'll say, "Jocelyn, are you suggesting that we all become socialists?" I love your boots. And their lesson plan entitled Class, Power, Privilege, and Influence in the United States, the Workforce Diversity Network gives ways that we can help out the lower class at school, work, and in everyday life. From actually exposing ourselves to the lives and experiences of poor people, to volunteering in impoverished communities, to simply switching up our language and correcting others when they call poor people lazy or unintelligent. Now, we in particular have a perfect opportunity to make this a reality. This is a business club for young people. Imagine if it was open to kids of all economic brackets. The rich kids could share insight on banking and investing, while we broke kids could share a tip and trick on stretching a dollar or looking fly on a budget, Goodwill. By helping each other out, we can not only make the future brighter, but our understanding of humanity deeper. And second, we've got to look at the big picture. In their famous 1977 psychological study, Stanford professors Lee Ross, Teresa Amabile, and Julia Steinmetz define a phenomenon called attribution error, or the tendency to place an undue emphasis on internal characteristics rather than considering someone's external factors to explain their situation. It's kind of like when someone tries to cut my mom off on the highway and she slams on the gas like, "Not today, Satan." Instead of considering maybe they aren't the devil and they're just running a little late. The same goes for money. We attribute people's financial failure to the failure of them as individuals. And obviously, this way of thinking is flawed. In order to avoid it, we've got to look at the big picture and see how we all fit into it. By educating ourselves on the lives of poor people, we can realize it's hard to move up in the world. That's not a fair reason to discriminate against someone for. I mean, we may not be able to fix poverty, but we can fix our own personal attitudes towards it. I mean, calling people sponges hasn't helped anyone. Sponge, 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 see? It don't help. But I hope this discussion has. Today we took a look at the causes, effects, and some solutions to help out and change the way we view poverty. Young business people of America, I know we live in a world that categorizes us as haves and have-nots. And I'm not trying to burn down the good old system of capitalism. That's next week. What I am trying to do is say, if we can help, we should. As a person living in a working class household with a single mom and attending this private school on scholarship, I know firsthand that a little help can change someone's life. We have a lot more in common than you think. American rapper Q-Tip once rapped that all we want in this life is peace, prosperity, and a little bit of paper. And you know what? He's right.